Welcome to Talk Birdie To Me. This is Australia's most popular golf podcast with former world number 16 Nick O'Hearn, the only player to beat Tiger Woods twice in match play, and tour pro Mark Allen, who played professional golf around the world for 15 years, including a British Open. We're coming from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. Titleist is the #1 ball in golf, and FootJoy is the #1 shoe and glove in golf. And thanks to our great partners, Watch My Numbers, the most powerful database golf app in the world. Download from the App Store or Google Play. Ping, as with Nick O'Hearn, will help you play your best. See your local golf shop or professional for a Ping Club fitting. The Golf Clearance Outlet beat everyone's prices. Visit golfclearanceoutlet.com.au for your nearest store. And Better, the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. Now that's better. Now, from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, it's time for Talk Birdie To Me. Here's Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to a story time edition of Talk Birdie To Me. Now, why are we doing the story time edition of Talk Birdie To Me?
Sounds as though we're going to send everyone to sleep, by the way.
Hang on a second. Well, I will say that story time is a word you have just made up then.
I know.
Nick and I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it's everyone's story. Everyone likes a golf story here and there. We got some goodies and baddies.
So what we're doing it for is we had an email, a message a few days ago from TD0172.
Right.
And we read this out on the pod a few days ago. TD said, I really enjoy the respect that you two show to all golfers in your discussions, except, of course, that arsehole Colin Montgomerie.
That's right. He is an arsehole.
And we thought, why don't we have a bit of a chat about some of the great blokes on tour and why they're great, and some of the, how shall we say, rat bags on tour.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll go last because
so great.
Yeah, they're not so great. I'll very happily tell my Colin Montgomerie 1992 Australian Open story, and I'll do that soon.
Well, hold that though. Let's talk about the good guys
The good
first.
guys.
Good guys always go first. Who have you got in mind?
Well, there's so many good guys on tour, to be honest. There are quite a few not so good guys as well. But, one of my best mates on the DP World Tour over the years was Soren Keltsen. He's an absolute beauty. So much fun playing with Soren, and he was I'll say this, he was the most Australian Danish guy I ever met. He had that sarcastic sense of humour. He'd walk into the players' lounge and he'd see my wife Alana, and he'd give her a bit of abuse, and Alana would give it right back, and other people would go, "What are they doing?" But as you know, as Aussies, we the more abuse we give you, the more we like you.
That's right. Christian, when I was on the Nike tour, there was a kid called Christian Pena, who you know quite well, who ended up in the Ping truck.
Running the tour now.
The tour truck, he runs all he looks after all the Ping players in America. But Christian, I loved him for that exact reason. He was very Australian. He was an Australian-American, and I know exactly what you're talking about when you talk about your buddy from over there.
There was another guy I really enjoyed playing with, was David Howell.
Howell,
who I actually spoke about on the podcast the other day.
Australian PGA champion at New South Wales Golf Club, La Perouse.
One of the nicest guys ever, and actually there's a funny story I remember him telling me. Well, he didn't tell me. I heard it from other players who were playing the event.
Oh, this is great.
What's the event they used to have where
the Seti Ballesteros.
Is that the one? Yeah, where they had it wasn't the Ryder Cup, but it was like an English team that played against Asia or Great Britain and no, not Ireland, or whatever it was. Anyway.
It was Britain and Ireland, and played against the continental Europe, I think it was.
Is that the one?
Yeah,
yes,
I think
that's the one. Anyway, so they had the captains, and Nick Faldo this year was the captain of the Great Britain and Ireland team. Yeah. And David's on the team, and I think McGinley and a few of the other players and everything. And they're at dinner one night, and discussion came up about... Again, this is all I've heard, by the way. Discussion came up about Nick Faldo having either an OBE or an MBE. Which one's higher? Do you know?
I've got no idea.
You know the order of
I think the OBE.
Call it. I think the OBE is higher. So he might have had an MBE, and Sam Torrance had an OBE, which was higher.
Right.
And anyway, someone said to Nick, Sir Nick, said, look, what's the deal? You know, Nick, you're a 6-time major champion. You're the greatest player to ever come out of this country. Sam Torrance never won a major. Yes, he won the Ryder Cup, but he's got the OBE.
Yeah.
You've got an MBE. And Nick says, you know what? I have no idea why. I've been racking my brain as to why that is. And David Howell puts his hand up and he says, I know why. And he goes, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, actually, my his partner at the time, I believe, was part of the royal establishment. She might have been like a PA for the Queen or something like that." And they kind of all knew this. And they said, whatever his partner's name was, it might have been Elizabeth or something. He said, "Well, my partner's been speaking with the Queen, and apparently the Queen thinks you're an arsehole."
He said that in front of everybody.
No, he said that to Nick Faldo.
Right.
Yeah, this is what David Howell. And apparently Nick's face went white.
You're kidding me.
Like, went absolutely white.
I
and
love
David
Howie.
looked straight at him and went, "Ah!" Gotcha. Because the room went silent and everyone thought he was dead serious, but it obviously wasn't. And but he just thought he'd make that story up because his partner worked with the Queen.
I didn't have that many. I had
Now,
practice
he used a
round
bit
with
more
him.
colourful
He's
language.
like that.
He used a bit more colourful language than that. I've toned it down a little bit for the pod.
Yeah.
So.
What did you say, arsehole?
No, I'm not going to say
No,
it.
it was a bigger word. That's for
Anyway.
sure. Oh, very, very good. Can we take a break? Because my story goes for a bit.
Okay.
It goes for a bit. But I'll tell you what it was like as a young bloke.
Any nice guys, by the way, other than Christian Pena you played with?
Christian, I used to like it. I enjoyed his company. Peter Senior used to make me smile.
Pete was a beauty.
Pete. It was a tournament, and what was the golf course? I was in the last group with Glenn Joyner, who's passed away, and Pete Senior, and I was leading after 3 rounds, and he turned up, Peter Senior. He shot the easiest 65 or 66 or whatever he did on a windy day. And he was starting the ball out over water and drawing it back to tight pins and all the stuff you'd never do in a million years, but he could do it. But he did it in a way where you just liked him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
Yeah.
Really, really annoying. Yeah. But he was a very likable character. But on the 10th, I'll see you on the 10th tee.
Okay.
All right.
I'll tell you about.
He's got to gear up.
I'll tell you about a bloke called Colin Montgomerie and what he did to me when I was 22 years old.
Jeez.
We're live from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. We all know the number one ball in golf is Titleist and the number one shoe and glove in golf is FootJoy. We're here thanks to the Golf Clearance Outlet. They beat everyone's prices. Ping will always help you play your best. Turn your bogeys into birdies with the Watch My Numbers app, and Better, the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. That's better. Now, back to Talk Birdie To Me. Here's Nick and Mark.
Well, welcome. It's 1992.
Here we go.
Oh, wow.
It's the Australian Open at the Lakes, and it is the windiest week that we've ever seen for an Australian Open. And it was a stellar field too, by the way. Steve Elkington won.
He did.
Raymond Floyd was playing that particular week. I think Peter McWhinney, wearing that big cowboy hat, did quite well also. But at that stage, I'd had some lean years. I turned pro in 1990. Didn't have much success, but things started to turn once I got a little putting lesson from Ian Baker Finch, and I was back. And I'm talking, Nick, I was holing everything.
Beautiful.
Anything I looked at that particular week went straight in the hole. But I did owe my 2 biggest sponsors at the time, Mr. MasterCard and Mr. Visa. I owed them about $10,000 each. So I didn't have a cracker, and I was living or playing professionally off 2 credit cards that were loaded up with a $20,000 limits. So I needed some money.
Of pressure.
I needed some money. Anyway, as you do, you check the times on the Saturday. Back then, you had to call. You had to call in. So you had to call somebody, and they'd say, "Look, it's Mark Allen. I'm on 3 under par." And the lady goes, "Oh, you're doing quite well." She was a funny lady.
Yeah.
"Oh, you're doing quite well, Mark. You're playing tomorrow at 1:15 with Colin Montgomerie, right?" And I didn't want that. I wanted to play with someone that nobody knew because I just wanted nobody following me. I just wanted to play well and make a check. Anyway, I'm playing with Colin. Now, Colin Montgomerie famously, he was one of the best players Europe's ever produced
incredible.
by a mile. And I think he won the Order of Merit in Europe 8 times in a row. And I reckon he must have been halfway through that run in 1992. So he was a god.
Sounds about right, yeah.
That's the way I remember it. He was a god. Anyway, what I wanted to do, I crystallised in my game plan the next day, is that I would go up to him on the driving range and I would introduce myself on the driving range and say, "G'day, Colin. I'm Mark. I'm playing with you today. I'm really looking forward to it." Whatever, right? Just to get some nerves out of the way. And in my mind, I was hoping he'd say, "Well, I'm really looking forward to it, Mark. I wish you all the best of luck. And look, we'll make it. We'll get you over the line today." That was my dream, right?
He typically never hit too many balls on the range before a round, so you didn't see much of him in there. Or if he was there, he's talking to other people.
Get ready, Nick, because this is part of the story. So I turn up the next day, I'm warming up, and I'm warming up out of one eye, and my other eye is looking for him. I didn't see him.
Yep.
He didn't turn up. So I'm thinking, where's he warming up? I'm wondering, okay? Where's he warming up? Anyway, we're hitting up at 1:15 and it's 1:12. And I've been on the tee for 8 minutes. Right? I've been there for a long time. I've been there for a long time and I'm nervous as hell. Now, if you know the lakes, it's a scary tee shot. It's a really scary tee shot off the first hole. There's a big, just complete water on one side.
Especially for a left-hander.
For a lefty, it'd be a disaster. You couldn't really hit driver because the bunker came into play. And on this day, it is a 6-club wind straight into the teeth.
Oof.
So I'm really nervous, right? Because I know if I shoot 80, I'm a laughing stock. And I've just annihilated $25,000, right? So I'm very nervous. Anyway, 1 minute before we hit off, get the 1 minute warning. Are you ready, Mark? And I said, "Yeah, I'm ready." Colin's not on the tee. He finally walks through and I walk up to him to shake hands and put the camera on, the big camera on both of us, Dan, if you could. So I shake hands.
I'm Colin?
I'm Colin. Yep. You're me.
Right.
And he gives me this.
Oh.
And look, right?
The no look.
The no look handshake.
No.
So I'm going, what the hell? Okay. He's obviously a bit nervous, right? I don't know what he's thinking.
Sure.
Anyway, so on the tee from Victoria with rounds of 72, 69, 72, Mark Allen. Huge amount of applause, which I have never experienced before in my life on the first tee, because we're the third last group and I'm playing with the superstar of the game. And the applause, I got to a point where now I am pissing my pants on the first tee. My knees are shaking on the first tee. My 15-year-old caddy gives me the trusty 3-wood. I've just met this kid on the Monday.
Nice.
Right? I just met the kid on the Monday. He was a great caddy. He probably listens. Mate, you were a great caddy that week.
I get
over the ball and I can't feel anything. I'm worried about missing the pill. I hit it so far out of the heel, Nick, that it starts over the water and cuts back all the way to the right-hand rough.
Nice.
The single worst shot that's ever been hit on the first tee of an Australian Open by a mile. I pick up my tee, and as I'm walking back to my 15-year-old with my heart in my throat because of that shot, I hear Colin Montgomerie say to his caddy, Alistair, how did I remember that? His caddy's name was Alistair. Yeah. He said, he goes, "I get paired with the worst players every time I come down to Australia."
Oh, no.
Right? That's what he said. That's what he said. And I could hear it. Nick. Anyway.
He wasn't saying it quietly.
Now I'm rattled, right? Now I'm completely rattled. Then Alistair gives him a ball. He throws the ball back onto the tee. No tee.
No tee. Just rolls it over.
No practice swing. He hasn't warmed up and he's taken driver and he has just gone whoosh. This drive off the deck that was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life, in between the water and that pot trap.
Yep.
It was just ridiculous. I get up to my ball. I'm in the rough and I hit a shot down the right-hand side, and it goes into the bunker. Now, I just want to see this next shot. He's got 115, 120 yards to the hole. He takes a 6-iron, and he hit a 6-iron this high to 6 foot. It was, again, the two most beautiful shots I've ever seen in my life.
Straight into the teeth.
Straight into the teeth of a 6-club wind. It was just magnificent. I get up, I'm plugged in the back trap.
Nice.
Now, I was the greatest bunker player who ever lived, folks, but this was a tough one. Plugged on a downslope, and the wind's 7-club wind. I chop it out, it just gets up, and it runs off the front of the green. Now I'm starting to feel the 80.
Yep.
Right? I'm feeling 80 at this point. I've got to go and chip this thing. My 15-year-old caddy's raking it up. I've got my lob wedge, and I walk off. I've got the wrong club.
Yep.
As I walk past him, Colin Montgomerie has said to his caddy, Alistair, loud enough for me to hear, I bet the kid shoots 85 today. Right? This is what he's saying.
Nice.
He's saying these things so I can hear it, Nick.
No.
So now I just want to get out of the way.
Yep.
The 15-year-old's raking the trap. I've got the wrong club. I've got a lob wedge chipping into a 6-club wind.
Beautiful.
I don't care. I have 3 practice swings. I go chip, bang, 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 straight in the hole.
Oh.
He misses the 6-footer. And we've had the same score on the first hole, right? We've had the same score on the first hole.
I love it.
Anyway.
I'm not going to go hole by hole.
No, I'm not. But he sticks it to me all day. He gives it to me all day.
Really?
You know, there's a short par for the Lakes. It's about the 12th hole.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 12?
Down the
Par
hill?
4, and there's down the hill.
13.
13th hole. I lay up, right? Because I'm actually playing well. I'm putting like a demon.
Yep.
He is just striping the ball. He's just Iron Byron, right, in this unbelievable day. I'll give you one thing he did that I'll never forget. On the 8th hole, it's a par 5, and the layup, it was straight into the teeth of the wind.
Yep.
The layup was in between tee tree. And it was a 15-yard layup. He hit driver off the deck again when the ball was below his feet and on a downslope.
Oof.
And he was hitting it into the middle of that tee tree.
Wow.
He did it on his ear. I just couldn't believe it. Anyway, so he's striping it.
Blusher.
I'm holing everything. I get up on that 13th tee and I hit a dinky little home down the hill, right? Way left of the water.
Okay.
The water's way left of the water. We've got a lot of people following us on top of that hill. And he announces to the crowd, well, I didn't come halfway around the world to lay up like this.
Oh, my goodness.
Looking at me. He's looking at me. Right? He gets driver out and tries to ping it on the green. Goes straight in the water. Right? A shocking shot. The only bad shot he's hit all day.
Love
He
it.
takes a drop. I hit a wedge on to 6 foot and hole it for birdie. And I
Thank
go
you.
2-2 in front of him. Anyway, he ends up holding an 80-footer on that for par.
Oh, wow.
The stay in reach. So anyway, we get to the 18th hole. I'm one in front.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one in front of him. And I've got a 3-footer. Right? He's holed out. I've got a 3-footer
To beat him.
to beat him and to make a big check,
Yes.
the biggest check of my career. Anyway, it starts raining. Now I'm into my routine, right? So it's practice stroke, look,
Yep.
come back, left foot, right foot, putter behind the ball, look, and I'm just about to pull the trigger. That was my routine.
Yep.
And he walked right next to me because it was raining. I didn't know what was going on.
Going to get the umbrella or something.
He was doing something like that.
Wow.
Right? This was this is the biggest putt of my life. It was probably 4 feet. Right? I stopped. Now, on the telecast, people at home go, what'd you stop for? You nervous? I said, no, he walked right past me. Anyway, I go back, start everything again. Practice stroke one. Look, back, left foot, right foot, get in position, one more look, pull the trigger, bang, go straight in the hole. 1, I know I've made 30 grand. 2, I've just beaten this bastard. And I want to look him in the eye and, I'm going to shake his hand.
There's a camera up there.
I'm going to shake his hand. Anyway, I'm looking around.
He's gone.
He's gone.
No.
He didn't shake my hand as well.
Okay.
I get into the scorer's hut.
No.
you know what they're like, the blokes that got the shits up, the scorers up, they just sign it and throw the card and walk off.
Walk off. Wow.
Did that to me. Anyway, I'll never forget it.
Well,
but I did give Dan the slide before we started. Put the slide up, Dan, just so people can see this.
I think the best part about that whole story is how you've really come to terms with it.
No, I'll never forgive. I'll never, ever forgive. Put it up, Dan. There we go. So there, have a look at some of those names, will you? So Elkington won that year. Then you got Penwick winning. And I reckon
Duffy Waldorf, Wayne Grady, Raymond Floyd.
Then who, Nick?
Oh, then Mark Allen.
There
Solo 6 ahead of
Colin Montgomerie. Yeah, that's right. That's right. 72 to 73 the last day. And then if you have a look at those scores, just pumping up my own tyres. I don't do that too often on this show.
No, not much.
But if you look at the scores, I was the only player in the field that week who didn't have one round over par. 72, 69, 72, 72. Everyone else had an over par round. It was a very, very windy week.
Well done.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thanks for letting me talk
Brilliant.
about that. That was good fun.
It's like that was like a therapy session.
I feel so much
maybe
better.
I feel like Victor Holtman, the life coach.
Anyway, good on you, folks. Thanks for having to listen to our stories. We really appreciate it. We can't wait to talk to you again next week.
And that's been Talk Birdie To Me, Australia's most popular golf podcast, with Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen, coming from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. As everyone knows, Titleist is the #1 ball in golf, and FootJoy, the #1 shoe and glove in golf. Wherever you get your podcasts, make sure to subscribe, maybe leave a review, and we'd love you to share the pod with a friend who loves their golf. Huge thanks to our fantastic partners. Ping, like they do for Nick O'Hearn, will help you play your best. You can see your local golf shop or professional for a Ping club fitting. The Golf Clearance Outlet always beat everyone's prices. Visit golfclearanceoutlet.com.au for your nearest store. Watch My Numbers is the most powerful data-based golf app in the world. You can download from the App Store or Google Play. And better, they've got the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. Download from the App Stores today. Now that's better. Keep in mind, what are you really gambling with? But for now, from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, thanks for being a part of the show. We'll see you next time.